Welcome back, Truth Seeker. It is April 22nd, 2021, a Thursday. As we begin the stream, I see the chat, and Sarah says she's getting better in the hospital. Feel better, Sarah. Appreciate that you're checking in despite being at the hospital. So thank you very much for tuning in despite the circumstances. Hope you feel better soon. And with that said, let's go over the latest headlines. Senate overwhelmingly passes anti-Asian hate crimes bill. Well, today is April 22nd. The majority of the world writes today 22/4 like 224, and anti-Asian hate crimes bill equals 224. And again, day after day, when you apply this knowledge to what your federal government's doing, you see that it is all ritual. And if you missed the work we just did on the Masters, which was just completed on April 11th, 11 days ago, we had a good hunch from early on that Matsuyama would win, which he did. And before the tournament began, we suspected an Asian golfer would win because of the mass shooting that started the stories in the news about racism towards Asians, but that mass shooting of March 16th happened in Georgia where the Masters was. And again, news and sports and politics, it's all synced up as we continue to prove and show and predict before it happens year after year. But if you watch the work we did on the decode of Matsuyama winning the Masters, it's truly mind-blowing. If you haven't seen it, you should definitely watch it. But one of the big numbers we talked about was 160, because Hideki Matsuyama equals 160, and the Masters happened to be 160 days after the Georgia governor's birthday and several other things. But anyhow, the vote today for the anti-Asian hate crimes bill, it was 94-1, a bit like 941, which is the 160th prime number. And again, I highly doubt any of that is a coincidence. Again, from the politicians to the sports superstars, a lot of these people are born and bred to be, and essentially they're crafted chess pieces for the place that they will fulfill on the chessboard that is the mainstream, that is the world of politics, sports, international governments. Again, if somebody's born to be a pawn, then they're shaped as a pawn and they're put on that space in the board. You know, if they're a bishop, they're a bishop. These people are chosen. They're not like you and I, the spectators of the news and sports. So again, what a day for an anti-Asian hate crime bill. And in case you haven't read about it, the vote was 94-1. And there's a few more things on those numbers, but we'll leave it there for now. And in case you did miss the decode on Matsuyama, if you haven't watched the video, you can scroll through the post. There's a lot of amazing synchronicities. But again, just to get to the short of it, the tournament ended April 11th, and Matsuyama equals 114, like Pearl Harbor, like World War. He's the first Japanese golfer to win the Masters, and he won it 45 days after his birthday, like Green Jacket in Augusta, 45, like how World War II ended in 45. And the last time he won a tournament was on August 6th, the anniversary of the bombing of Hiroshima. And the other Japanese golfer on the tour, who's Japanese-American, Colin Morikawa, the last tournament he won started August 6th and ended August 9th. Those are the two dates for the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. So, you know, just understanding how sports pay tribute to news and history. This is why Matsuyama looked good from the start of the tournament, and after day one looked really good, and after day two looked like a foregone conclusion. And again, this is how scripted it all is. And remember, Tiger Woods, who's half Asian, was supposedly in the car crash by the numbers that we said was a ritual with Masters Week. They reported he crashed at 7/12, like how Pearl Harbor Day can be written 7/12, the 7th day of the 12th month. The Japanese emperor, the day of the Masters, was his 712th day of his age. And from the prime minister's birthday to the Masters was his 127th day of his age. Excuse me, I just misspoke with the emperor. It was the 712th day of the emperor being in power, the day that Japan won the Masters for the first time ever through Matsuyama. But for the prime minister, it was his 127th day of his age. That's the other way the date Pearl Harbor can be written, December 7th, 12/7, 127, like 9/11, the new Pearl Harbor where buildings 1, 2, and 7 fell. But again, that's not even the end of it. There's even more that I could add to this. Ben has called in since. Ben's our resident golf superstar who's been in the community for a long time. And he found even more than what's in this post. But the ritual is synced up with the man considered the greatest golfer in Japan's history. And Matsuyama might be taking that title now that he's won the Masters. But again, these rituals are so perfect. And that's right. The tournament also began on April 8th, 4-8, and it began 42 days after Matsuyama's birthday. World Wars 42 and 48, and then he wins it on 114. And then Colin Morikawa, you see how World War is also 102, when he won it on the anniversary of the bombing of Nagasaki, it was the 102nd PGA Championship. So, again, I mean, they couldn't have scripted it any better. And here's Brian Kemp, the governor of Georgia, from his November 2nd birthday to April 11th was 160 days, like Hideki Matsuyama's 160. Like, again, today the vote was 94-1, like 941, the 160th prime. By the way, Kemp's the 83rd governor of Georgia. Augusta National Golf Club, where they play the Masters, equals 83. So, amazing stuff. Also, we have another 201. Amazon One's new palm scanning technology. Palm scanning is 201. Interesting. Amazon, one of the biggest beneficiaries in the time of the pandemic, which was simulated by Big Tech at Event 201. Big Pharma, Big Tech, Big Brother. But what I noticed is all the articles about this debuted on April 21st, which is the 111th day of the year, 111. And the technology is called Amazon One. And 111 is just the rep digit of 1. I've joked many times, Amazon will eventually be the company to own all companies, the one company to own all companies. But Amazon, who owns Whole Foods, is debuting this technology with Whole Foods, and Amazon One and Whole Foods have the same gematria. There's probably something there with that. I noticed the date that these stories broke, April 21st, was the 100th day of Jeff Bezos' age. And when you write out palm reading, think about palm reading. Isn't that essentially what this technology is doing? It's reading your palm to identify if it's you, but palm reading is 100. Isn't that strange? On his 100th day of his age, this technology revealed, and that it's going to be put into use at the Seattle Whole Foods very soon. Remember, Seattle's on the 122nd meridian west. Whole Foods also equals 122, as does Satanic, because there's a bit of a connection here with the mark of the beast, which is read either in your right hand or on your forehead. And of course, in the time of the pandemic, to get into a lot of stores or businesses or offices, they've been scanning your forehead to make sure your temperature's right. Again, all these things seem like steps in the prophecy that you'll have to have the mark if you want to participate in the economy, if you want to have the right to buy and sell. And also interesting about April 21st, 2021, that was a date with 66 numerology. Of course, the mark is 666, and in Gematria, mark of the beast is 66. Whoops, I did a typo here. I need to fix it in real time. My bad. The phrase number of the beast is 66, and the other thing that is 66 is not mark of the beast, what I wrote on the screen. It's New Testament. New Testament is 66. The word math is also 66. And don't forget the New Testament begins with Matthew. And if you flip it around, math and New Testament are 42. Like the New Testament begins with the 42 generations to Jesus. But, okay. And then so just the whole satanic encoding of, where they're starting it and the date of the announcement. It's all a bit interesting. And, again, just what are the odds things line up that way? What are the odds? Just another 201. Okay, so we talked about this on January 7th. On January 7th of this year, Muriel Bowser, the mayor in D.C., she said she wanted D.C. to become the 51st state. And we said that day, what a tribute to Rome that would be if it did happen, especially in this year. But the reason why is because Washington, D.C. is the land of Roman architecture, where in the House of Representatives, the Roman fasces are on the wall. D.C. used to be called Rome on the Potomac, and it was once owned by Francis Pope, not to be confused with Pope Francis, the face of the Roman Catholic Church. But Rome has that Gematria 51 in the most simple cipher, just like Federal. They're both 51. But you see how Rome is also 21, like this year's 2021? Remember, Jesuit is also 21, big number. But today, the day of this House passing this bill, it's the 112th day of the year, 112, right? And again, the Jesuits operate in 112 countries on behalf of Rome. And in Gematria, Catholicism, in the most simple cipher, is 112 like mathematics. And out of the 4 ciphers, Catholicism and mathematics are the exact same in 3 out of 4. Remember, the Club of Rome was established in 68, April 7th, Catholicism 68. But if you're new here, Gematria is based on the alphabetic order forwards and backwards with the rules of numerology. Those are the 4 base ciphers. Catholicism, mathematics, the same in 3 out of the 4. And keep in mind today, April 22nd, it is Adam Lanza's birthday. If he were alive, he would turn 30 today. He was supposedly born on this day in 1992. But remember, they reported Adam Lanza weighed 112 pounds. And when you write out Sandy Hook, it's also 112 in the most simple cipher, like mathematics, like Catholicism. Remember the big number with the Jesuits, 56. Sandy Hook opened in 56. The shooting was in 2012. 56 years later, Society of Jesus, 56. Washington, D.C., 56. Big federal push with gun legislation since that time. But okay, all these numbers, the 4th book of the Bible is titled Numbers. And again, on this day, the 112th day, the push for the 51st state, again, which syncs with Roman Federal, and the 112th syncs with the Jesuits as well. And again, if you've never looked up the Roman fasces on the wall of the House of Representatives, please do that. Again, all roads lead to Rome. Keep in mind today, April 22nd, 21 is a date with 47 numerology. And remember, in the base ciphers, all these words equal 47. Caesar, President, White House, Government, Authority, Republican, Whig, Democrat, D.C., Vatican, Francis. They're all 47. The cornerstone for D.C. was laid on the date with 47 numerology, September 18th, 1793. Think about the 47 degrees on the Masonic compass of the Scottish Rite out of France. Think about how the Jesuits were created in France and the Scottish Rite came to power in France, and modern Freemasonry was created by the Jesuit order, and D.C. is the land of the Jesuits and the Freemasons. Think about how France equals 47 and the city was laid out by the French Freemason L'Enfant. Think about all the founders that studied there. Keep in mind today is also a Thursday, and Rambo's been doing a lot of great work lately on Jupiter and Peter and the Catholic Church and Thursday. All roads lead to Rome. This proposal for the 51st state on a Thursday, on a very fitting Thursday, the 112th day of the year, in the year 21 on a date with 47 numerology. And remember, Joe Biden was the 47th vice president. He was in D.C. for 47 years before becoming president-elect. He took office as VP with 47-year-old Obama. He just defeated Trump. Trump equals 47, while Trump was age 74. The reflection. Roman is 74. So they're saying it's unlikely it's going to pass. But still, the ritual of the proposal. And it isn't to say that in a not-so-distant future it doesn't pass. But just bringing this issue forward, it passing in the House where the Roman fasces are on the wall on the 112th day of the year, not an accident. It's just a reminder who really controls that city, who these people really serve. Also, from Pope Francis' birthday to today is 126 days, or 18 weeks. Sun is 18, IHS is 18, the acronym and the Jesuit logo that is the sun, where we're on a calendar that's based on the sun, named after a pope, using a language also credited to the Catholic Church, English. But the 126 days matters because the first Jesuit university in D.C. is Georgetown, founded by John Carroll, whose name's 126. Last year, the Superior General of the Jesuits died, Adolfo Nicholas, another 126. Again, the simulation of Joe Biden winning the election by Georgetown was on June 12th, 12/6. We know they like this number 126. Could be because of the Bible, Genesis 1:26, where mankind is made in the image of the gods, plural. Again, that's why when you read the Bible, it's just like, it's hard to make sense of. It's like, wait a minute, one God, multiple gods. Like, what is going on with this story? How many different people wrote this story? I don't know if you guys saw, but last week where I was talking to the Christians on the streets of Yakima, the one was trying to sell me with all these different lines on why Jesus was the best spiritual bet. And I said, well, how come like even in the New Testament, in the gospel, you got the different genealogies of Jesus' ancestors. You got the 42 to start the New Testament. You got the 77 in Luke. We know in Gematria, Christ is 77 and, New Testament's 42. But, I mean, even in the story of Jesus, the way it's written, the facts contradict each other. So, anyway, and keep in mind, this is also synced with Pope Francis' 84th birthday, Jesuits 84, the Jesuit Orders 84, the Catholic Church's 84, United States of America 84. DC's had diplomatic relations with the Vatican, the Holy See, since 1984, the infamous year. Anthony Fauci, the Jesuit's been the head of NIH since 1984. Adolfo Nicholas died last year at age 84. That title's Superior General that he had, Superior General 84. Pope Francis has the 84 birth numerology, plus he's 84 right now. And also, with regards to all of this being Catholic, Muriel Bowser called for statehood on January 7th, 7/1, like 71. And remember the Gematria Catholic. Again, the English language comes from the Catholic Church. The calendar comes from the Catholic Church. It's all synced up. Look at this with Joe Biden. Joe Biden, the results were confirmed for him that he'd won the election on January 7th. Because of the Capitol insurrection on January 6th, which was all staged and simulated at Jesuit Georgetown. But 7/1 like 71. The day that Biden was inaugurated, January 20th, that was Pope Francis' 35th day of his age. And remember, the election was exactly 46 weeks after Pope Francis' birthday, and Beau Biden died at age 46, 201 days before Pope Francis' birthday, Mr. 201, the big Jesuit number. But also the election was called for Biden November 7th, 353 days after his birthday, the 71st prime. So 71, 35, and 46, they all clearly have used with the Biden, election inauguration. It's possible they did a ritual with 145 that I missed. But remember, JFK, he was number 35, the first Catholic president, killed at age 46. 46 books in the Catholic Old Testament, 145 more chapters in the Catholic Old Testament than the Protestant Old Testament. And Israel, the Jewish nation, was created May 14th, 14/5, where in the Catholic Bible, there's 145 more chapters in the Jewish section, and the Jesuit history is that they were created by Jews who converted to Catholicism, which is why they brought this practice of letters and numbers over from Kabbalah, because again, the Jewish belief is that God created the world with numbers, letters, and words, as expressed in the Kabbalistic texts, the Book of Formation, or the Sefer Yetzirah. But again, there's just no way all this stuff's a coincidence. The same patterns all throughout history, patterns that are, consistent longer than any of us watching right now have probably been alive. I mean, how many of you were alive right now in 1948 on 14/5 when Israel was created, after the world wars instigated by the Jesuits? The Act of 1871 when D.C. became an independent city-state essentially controlled by Rome. Again, they've been doing the same things all throughout history. Okay, and we also have another headline today on the 22nd, 1 month after the shooting on the 22nd of March at the King Soopers, which we covered well in Colorado, and we've pretty much lost 2 YouTube channels because of it. Again, remind me of the good old days where you can't expose the obvious lies or they take you down. They just delete your channel and say you severely violated the terms of service. It's like, wait a minute, I just made a bunch of logical points and use the facts from the mainstream to make my argument. That's a severe violation of the terms of service? Okay. Again, 21 channels deleted to date, over 10,000 videos. With all those videos, a lot of comments left by people who watched the videos, who shared additional information, essentially deleting the evidence of a lot of awake people, and they just don't want it out there. But anyhow, March 22nd was the date of the shooting. 322, the big skull and bones number. We talked about all the skull and bones rituals with it. Again, if you don't know about Skull and Bones 322, look it up. These are facts, not conspiracy theories. It's a problem with America. So many dummies just right away, if they hear something they know about, they're like, is this a conspiracy theory? No, moron. There's more information than just what you were taught in your slave school, okay? Things outside of slave school that you learned are real and likely more important to your life, and they're more than just conspiracy theories. But anyway, 322, the number of Skull and Bones at Yale. We're always talking about how these numbers go together, even with the calendar. November 18th is the 322nd day of the year, leaving 43 remaining. And again, 43 new charges, 43. When Yale's 43. And again, just remember, Skull and Bones member George Herbert Walker Bush was the 43rd vice president. His son, also a Skull and Bones member, became the 43rd president in an election that came down to Florida, which equals 43 as well, where his brother was the 43rd governor at the time, Jeb Bush. And then we had Brady go down to Florida at age 43 in a big Skull and Bones ritual and, win the Super Bowl, getting his 149th home win. Remember, Skull and Bones, when written out, equals 149 like King Supers. Got his 149th home win, exactly 149 months after his game where he beat the Chiefs, where Carl Sheffers worked his first game ever as a ref, who also worked Super Bowl 55. Again, it's all scripted. 9/11, Patriot Act, Tom Brady and the Patriots, Skull and Bones in the presidency, Skull and Bones running the NFL, Skull and Bones running your Hollywood movie studios, putting their same numbers on everything. Again, and don't forget, American football is credited to Walter Camp, who went to Yale. Football equals 43 as well, like GOAT. The killing in the Goatville neighborhood of an Asian the night before Brady wins the Super Bowl in the major GOAT ritual. DMX just got goated with LL Cool J in a 43 ritual. Anyway, this story also comes out of Colorado, which is 43. So is killing, so is Masonic, so are the letters DC. We predicted that there'd be gun legislation because of this on April 19th, which there was. Again, we had it that day because it's the day that connects to gun control. Just like September 13th, the 256 connection, Second Amendment. So again, just taking the patterns from history, applying them to the current, making accurate predictions, which we do left and right. Undeniable evidence that this is exactly how they operate. And just look at the mockery too. CNN, you can see that I cut these screenshots. Boulder shooting suspect makes his first court appearance. And look how long the video is, 2:23. The date March 22nd can be written 223 as well. If you write out Skull and Crossbones, it's 223, the logo of Skull and Bones. And the name of the shooter, his name has 331 Gematria, the 67th prime. Today has 67 date numerology. So it's probably also part of the reason. But 1 month later, you get that. And then in Canada, what's trending in social media is the phrase, he's 56. And this is in response to their politician, the Premier of Ontario, Doug Ford, because supposedly he couldn't figure out how to get his laptop to work in a public presentation. And then so they're saying he's 56, like he's an old, he's nearly a boomer. They don't know how to work with computers. But again, we know in this community the real reason that went viral on social media. He's 56. It's things like Steve Jobs being dead at age 56 on the 56th day of Steve Wozniak's age. Again, 56 is the number of the Jesuits who control governments and big tech. Society of Jesus 56, number they put on a lot of their rituals. And Stryker, who changed his name, I'm not sure why he changed his name. Maybe he was getting shadow banned or something. But, he's always got good observations. So, okay, and just before I went on, I saw that one of CNN's breaking headlines was that a musician's dead at 65, and the news broke today. They got a picture of him with his band in 74, but I went and looked, and he died April 20th. This is the day the George Floyd trial ended. Remember, George Floyd equals 65. But, again, he died at 65 on a 65 date numerology. And whenever I see that in celebrity deaths and music, I always think of the same word. Music is 65. You see how music's also 20? And he died on the 20th of April on a 65 date numerology at age 65. Death also has that gematria 20. And in George Floyd's case, remember, judges 20, and it was 47 weeks exactly after the video came out of kneeling on his neck. But dead at 65, on a 65 date numerology, April 20th. And then this group, Bay City Rollers, see, had they known Gematria, they might have taken a different band name, because Bay City Rollers has that 67 and 86. And realize the news comes today, right? Today has 67 date numerology, so they saved the news for 2 days later. The date was 65 numerology. But blood sacrifice in that same cipher, 67. Also 86, like Bay City Rollers. And then human sacrifice is the same way, 67, 86. Numbers that come together left and right in these stories of what you could call premature deaths. And again, 65 is not that old. You know, that's not average life expectancy. It's short of. And it's funny. I never seen these guys before, but the one with the black and white stripes, his face looks like one of my cousins. His hair was never like that, but his face looks the same. Okay, so I think that's what's going on, and Meg's eager to get back out on the corner, so I'm gonna head down to the corner here, do some pavement pounding, probably be out there for at least a few hours today. And that'll be on the twitch.tv channel. So I think that is all for now, Truth Seeker. And if there's something else you need me to cover, I will definitely be reading the comments. I often do check the comments to see if anybody has a good lead on something or something I need to check out. But I think we'll leave it there for now. So have a good rest of your day. And